Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It's been a couple weeks, but we have returned in tremendous fashion. Playing catch up, you're getting a special, like a value meal type episode. You're getting 3 episodes rounded up in one. Of this week, episode 14, The Alternative is back. Not just me, not a special co-host. The way it should be, my man, the guy that started with me way back in October. Colin, you're back. The internet and technology gods are smiling upon us this week. They want us to do it, apparently. Tech issues preventing us and just life, blah, blah, blah. But we're back. What's going on? Hi, Ben. Where's your Twitter? How's your jacket?
My jacket's great. Orange Cassidy's always, always out there on Dynamite, just having a great time. So, naturally, whenever I'm wearing it, I'm always super chill, super relaxed. But, it's good to be back. It's been a couple weeks. The last 2 weeks, we've had some pretty bad technical issues that the wrestling gods did not want us to review these episodes. And I think it's just because they realize we're just so good at our job, Travis. Like, we're so good at this podcast, and they were just like, the internet can't handle it.
We're just a couple of Babe Ruths with like our booking predictions throughout this whole entire course of our show that it's like literally it's like watching a spoiler. That's how good we are. And they didn't want us to give any spoilers out, Colin.
We're like Paul Heyman, we don't make predictions, we make spoilers. It's just a fact. We've been harping on them to turn Britt Baker heel for the last couple of weeks, and they finally fucking did it. It was about time. Before I get into that, though, and we get into everything that's been going on in the world of wrestling, make sure to check me out on Twitter at UberTieGuy. Always tweeting about wrestling there. You can always see what stupid wrestling things I'm getting into every now and then. So, yeah, make sure to check me out over there.
There you have it. And myself, as always, you can find me on Twitter at the Hibiki TMD. Right here, Hibiki TMD on YouTube. That red button down below, hit it. All that goddamn goodness, retro gaming, pro wrestling, heavy metal podcast. We got it if you like it. And catching us right here on ProWrestlingJournal.com. Thank you again to the tremendous team behind that, pulling the strings, Drew Ortman. Tremendous writers. If it happened in a ring, they're your thing. And yeah, before we get down to anything, serious note real quick. This is really kind of officially the first thing I've really done getting back into sports. I just want to take 2 seconds real quick. Tons of you guys, you didn't have to. Some of you barely know me. It's complete strangers. I lost my dad last week, and I just want to, from the bottom of my heart, thank all you guys who reached out. You have no clue, even from complete strangers, how much that can mean to someone sometimes when they need it. And I did need it. I'm so thankful for all you guys, and to my dear, close, personal, longtime friends on here who reached out and helped my family this week when you didn't have to. I had no clue you guys did it, but I was incredibly humbled, and words will never truly be able to put how I feel to express my gratitude. But let's get past all the sappy stuff, Colin. Thank you guys, and let's get down to why people want to listen to this. Not me. Not people want to escape real life with this, and I get it. But I just wanted to take 2 seconds to do that. And yeah, AEW Dynamite. We've been on boats, Colin. We've been in Alabama. We've been all over the fucking place in the past 3 weeks, man. It's pretty much more the same as far as in 3 weeks worth to round it all up, because this isn't our typical episode. We're not going to run down a card or all that. It's been pretty consistent still, as it just every week it's just like NXT. It's always usually more times than not good episode.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been doing great the last couple of weeks that we haven't been doing the show. I can't think of any, and full disclosure, I missed last week's episode. Because I was busy working and everything like that. My schedule got a bit different than what it normally is. Couldn't catch the show. Saw this past week's, though. Obviously watched the Jericho Cruise episodes. And, yeah, good stuff all around.
Of course, there's some misses here and there in certain segments, but that's any pro wrestling show. We'll get to that, I'm sure, by the end of this. Pretty much, even 3 weeks in, the one that still stands out, and that goes back to what we say all the time, every week, episode. It's tiring at this point how much aesthetic can mean to just memorability and just how much a show stands out compared to just another Dynamite. And I'm just thinking about wrestling on a boat. I want more wrestling on boats because I know a lot of people ragged on it, the size of the crowd, and it was the certain types of individuals that attended and just the other boats passing and fucking up. I don't care. It's just such a cool concept to me. And I'm always about refreshing things in wrestling. And I can't stop talking about that goddamn Dynamite on a boat, Colin.
I mean, I'm right there with you. I love that episode. I thought it was very aesthetically pleasing. I mean, wrestling on a boat. We've had wrestling in cars. We had, I mean, Christ, we had Goldust and Roddy Piper going 100 down a highway and whatever kind of contraption that was. We've had the plane ride from hell. It's a shame that wasn't televised.
That doesn't count. That does not count.
I know, but I'm just saying, I think it's about time we have a televised wrestling extravaganza from a plane. I think that would be fantastic. I don't know what the hell they would do, and I'm so worried someone will hit a suplex and they'll just fall straight through the plane floor and it'll just turn into this tragedy. But it would be pretty fun to watch.
I'd still wish there was actual footage of Brock Lesnar and Mr. Perfect almost taking off the emergency door, wrestling around with like Gerald Briscoe refereeing all drunk.
I can't think of anything in wrestling I'd want to see more.
Yeah, the very, very few things come to mind. We kind of started this on our review a couple weeks ago, and our footage got lost on that shit. And it's weird in 3 weeks, and I don't know why. I want to talk about her specifically, why she's standing out of all the things we can talk about in AEW right now. The progression of Britt Baker in 3 weeks is kind of, I don't want to say night and day because it's not that drastic, but it's on the upward. I don't know what the first fucking week was. That promo on the boat is one of the worst things I've ever seen. Flat out.
Yeah, no, it wasn't great. And I mean, and I obviously know this was probably wasn't done on purpose or anything like that. But I mean, but it says a lot, when you're watching this promo and they cut to commercial mid-sentence and everyone's reaction isn't like, oh, why'd they do that? And everyone's reaction is, thank God I don't have to keep listening to that.
Well, the cultists and the defenders and the incels and the AEW, that dark side of the AEW fandom, their whole defense mechanism, and I get it, other boats were passing it. They didn't really cut her short. Well, maybe it affected her. I don't know. Even if the boat, they didn't have to cut it short and the boats didn't pass, it was still awful from the get. The delivery of that first week, I don't know, man.
Yeah, but I mean, and compared to this past episode, and I mean, yeah, it's you're saying it's not that drastic, but I mean, it is kind of like a maybe not night and day, but maybe like a 3 p.m. to a 7 p.m. Like there's clearly a difference when there's, the sun's out and then the sun is setting, there's definitely a noticeable difference in her style now and what she's been doing. And I think it's for the best. I mean, we've been saying it since, day one that Britt Baker needs to be a heel. And now that's exactly what she is. And she's doing really well at it.
Is there...
I mean, Christ, dude, I mean, the wrestling fan that gets into it wants me to believe this was real, and the logical side of me is like, okay, clearly the referee handed her something that looked like a tooth. But I mean, this past week when Britt, who was it? It was
the Genie. She's got a long name. Forgive us.
Yeah, Yuka Sakazaki.
There you go.
She got the surprise win. I totally didn't just read that off of
No way. No.
No, not at all. But yeah, I mean, Yuka Sakazaki getting the surprise win over Britt Baker, which I didn't hate. I thought it made sense with everything afterwards. It at least gives Yuka some credit and everything. I don't know when the last time she was on the show, or even if she has been on the show before, to be perfectly honest. But I mean, after that, when she puts her mouth against the bottom rope and essentially just does a legitimate curb stomp to this. She's bleeding from the mouth. She pulls out her tooth and everything. Like that's what I've been wanting. That's what I've been looking for from Britt Baker. And
that little hiccup, that blunder where you know what's happening before, because I watched Dynamite. I didn't watch it live, but I watched it spoiler free to just kind of get my reaction, like I try to always do, as hard as that is on social media. I even knew what the fuck was going down as soon as I saw that ref, and I knew what was coming. I don't know if you did.
Yeah, I mean, usually Aubrey Edwards will get involved with the female performers and everything like that. So I definitely thought something would happen for sure.
I was just talking about this on Twitter like 20 minutes ago. I put out a tweet about this post-match this week where Britt Baker, she got the win. No, she didn't get the win. That was the whole thing. She lost to a crucifix roll-up by the Genie, and down the rankings she goes, and she lost it post-match. And I put the tweet out. This 5 minutes or however long it was post-match, By the end of it, I liked it. I really liked it. It's probably the best thing they've ever done with Britt Baker so far. What sealed the deal for me is when she put her hand in her mouth, when she had it in the submission hold. That was nasty and that was crazy. I'm like, ooh, that's some vicious shit. And this 5 minutes in my tweet made what I put out. Britt Baker came off more psychotic than anything the Nightmare Collective's ever done in this. And I like this. And I got to tip my hat, man. Like I said, I'm always fair. I tip my hat. Finally, they're spotlighting not as many flaws of her, and they're learning not what to expose in Britt Baker. I feel like more and more. It's not perfect by any means, but we've come a long way since the boat, I feel like, already.
For sure. And I mean, yeah, and you know, when you think about it, it's like if it was, you know, in the set, like I said, I genuinely don't know. Maybe she did lose a tooth, and that was the whole like it just worked out that way. I'm more inclined to believe, obviously, that didn't really happen. But if you think about it from a kayfabe perspective, if you lost a tooth and then someone is, you know, yanking your arms as far back as they can go and shoving their dirty fingers in your mouth and, you know, probably gouging at that, you know, loose tooth that, you know, like that spot you have open, that's got to be pretty excruciatingly painful.
And I got to give it to Britt Baker right here, too. It's just that sadistic smile while doing it. That's a little nuance, man, that adds to that little visual of that. And I thought
I always like when wrestling has a fine line between what's obviously, you know, it's pro wrestling, it's going to happen, and what could actually be constituted as physical assault.
We'll definitely get to that later with the MJF stuff. This, though, it's one of those cases in wrestling where, like, sometimes, yeah, you see him hand the blood packet, or, you know, you see a gig and wrist tape, or you see fucking the blind. This is dating myself, Colin. WrestleMania 7, the blindfold match, Rick Martel, Jake Roberts. You know, obviously they could see it was a work, but there was one point where Jake got shit for this backstage too. Like he adjusted it and put his hand inside, but when he did that, you could see the little mesh eye hole you could see out of right on the fucking hard cam zoomed in. And even as a kid, I remember that. You know what I mean? But right. I can overlook those little hiccups in wrestling sometimes because that kind of blunder like this, when you saw the blood packet being handed, that's on the editing team. That's on the cameras. That's not really on the talent. You know what I mean? Because WWE does this shit all the time too. I can't crucify AEW for this blunder, not, you know, everyone who does it.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's like one of those things where, like, if you order your steak medium rare and it comes out too well done for your liking, you don't yell at the waiter for fucking up your steak. It's the kitchen's fault, you know.
And just like that dark side of the IWC, there's that dark side of customers who would yell at the waiter, Colin.
Shitty people.
Shitty.
Just terrible people.
DJ Stones. Anyway, yeah, that's where I'm at with Britt Baker. It's on the upswing for me. Let's do it, man. For me, are we under the same agreement that the very best thing AEW is putting out right now is the Cody MJF stuff, hands down?
I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't invested in this cat fight between your favorite wrestler Joey Janela and Kip Sabian over Penelope Ford. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't interested. However, I will agree with you that I can't think of a rivalry going on in wrestling currently that is better than Cody Rhodes and Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Really, it's just this whole this stipulation road thing where every week's different stipulation. It's very rare. We've seen that even in can't even remember the last time WWE did something like that. We still got a cage match to go. This week was the 10 lashes. He's still, just the not being able to hit MJF adds so much more. And it's one of those little things again. It adds so much more to make an MJF hateable. It just, I'm so sick of hearing this debate. I don't know about you on Twitter, Colin. Who's the better heel, Baron Corbin or MJF? I know you're I'm literally, guys, the world's biggest Baron Corbin fan is this guy right here. But is that comparison, nobody can touch MJF in my opinion right now. I'm sorry, as far as the heel.
I mean, yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, it's, you know,
cum stains. Talking about giving fans' wives cum stains on Twitter.
Right, and it's like, I love Baron Corbin for sure. He's definitely one of my favorites. But I think he's a great heel. I think he's easily up there in the list of, you know, the best heels in wrestling right now. But there's no one is beating MJF. There's no one who even comes close to beating him.
He's just got all those qualities to make a human being so hateable. Just his face and his haircut and just everything about him, his swagger. And I don't know. I obviously I feel like we're going to go past the Revolution match. This is going to carry on for a while. But what do you feel like is really the end game after this angle wraps up with MJF? You feel like they're going to put him in the title picture by then? Like, what do you think's happening for him?
I mean, honestly, it's kind of one of those things where I don't know, and that excites me. I'm excited to see, where how this feud culminates. How it ends. I think what they're gonna do is I think Cody is going to win at Revolution. It could be in a legit manner. It could be feet on the ropes, pulling the tights, whatever. And then I think the roles are going to kind of be reversed in the sense that now Cody is like, well, get out of my face, and MJF is the one like demanding the match, and he wants his match, and so Cody's going to like turn the tables on him, and maybe not do the exact same thing. I don't think he's going to make him fight in a cage match against Goldust or take 10 lashes with his own belt or something like that. I don't think it's going to be anything like that. But it'll basically be the reverse. MJF is chasing after Cody, and Cody's just like, well, whatever, I'll think about it. Maybe, we'll see.
Right. If they did reverse it and like MJF would ever have to take 10 lashes, the best way to make him an even more hateable heel is after the first lash, MJF taps out and says, I'm done, and runs away like a bitch. And that's it.
Yeah, no, that'd be perfect.
Maybe this is bold or stupid and people could come at me, but I got this hunch. Because it contradicts what her other character's doing. I got this fucking hunch that Brandy's going to turn on Cody at the pay-per-view. I really do. I don't even think she'll be a love interest for MJF. I just got that feeling. She's going to cost Cody the match. Because why would they have her be a face? And I get the reality aspect of it, but essentially, if they want casual eyes, isn't that going to confuse a brand new casual? Do they want that? I don't know.
Yeah, because, if you've only been watching for a couple weeks, Brandy's been pretty decent. They haven't had a whole lot of, Cody and Brandy interactions on TV aside from this one that just happened.
None, so, I don't think.
Yeah, so, if you just tuned into Dynamite the last couple of weeks this week and you're just like, yeah, let me buy this show and see what happens, you might see Brandy coming out with Cody and you're just like, oh, I guess they're married or something like that. I'm sure they'll mention it on commentary if she's there. But and then you see her turn, and it's just like, that's interesting. I guess they're probably not married or something like that, or it's a storyline, or But it would definitely be an interesting idea. If Brandy becomes kind of like a love interest with MJF, and we're no secret to cuck angles right now with everything going on with Rusev and Bobby Lashley and Liv Morgan and Lana and whoever the fuck they want to throw into that mess.
Hashtag cuck angles.
It's what it is, man. I call it like I see it. Who's to say they wouldn't go down that route? I can't imagine Rusev is probably just beaming with excitement that Bobby Lashley gets to dry hump his wife every week. But I'm sure Cody, you can't deny that Cody loves wrestling. He loves this sport. He loves what he does every single week. The man just took a legit 10 whips with a belt. Yeah. For TV. And we've seen the pictures after the fact. Those weren't fake. Those aren't makeup scars that they put on for every Instagram picture. He took them like a man. Because by the end of it, when he was, getting off the floor and he was crying, I don't think he was probably in some real pain.
For sure.
And so, who's to say he won't let MJF kiss his wife for a couple of weeks for a storyline? And this is all just politics at this point, but I'm very interested to see, where this story goes.
People could I'm sure they would too, that make the argument, well, that's too predictable. It's not believable with Brandy, turning on Cody because of how prominent they're featured as ambassadors for the company in real life. And my argument to that is, at the end of the day, pro wrestling is pro wrestling. Any era, they do that kind of stuff. It's pro wrestling. You gotta escape reality, like we said, and it's the show, man. And I feel like if it's done right and they book it like that, I feel like it could work, but they could fuck it up really easily too if they do it. That's the thing with doing that. It could go either way if they do it with Brandy. That's why I'm weary if that's what they should do.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I mean, and we'll see. You know, they've had a good string. I don't think there's been very many bad directional choices in AEW so far. You and I both have our opinions on, the Nightmare Collective and like the fact that there's like three different kind of those groups going on at any given time. But I mean, to be fair though, I can't, I don't know if this is real or not. I don't know if, they'll talk about it more on TV. But I mean, as we saw in the last episode, when Pac was going after Omega and wanting the match, and he had Rio off to the side and everything, and then Nyla Rose attacked Rio. Fuck, wait, Nyla.
Yeah, you're right.
I know that. I'm just stupid. In my mind, I thought Nyla Rose was the one that was always with the Nightmare Collective, not Awesome Kong. Now I'm just an idiot or racist, whatever you want to fucking call me. I had this great segue planned, and now it's I can't because I'm wrong. But so pretend that didn't happen. What I was getting to is the fact that they had posted this like therapy session type thing on their Twitter, and I don't know if it's going to make it to TV. I don't know if they'll talk about it more. But they're kind of hinting at the fact that the Nightmare Collective might be over. It might, they're just stopping it where it's at. So, I mean, and I think that's a great decision because the Nightmare Collective has been terrible.
Fucking awful. Yeah, I'm with you. I saw that therapy session stuff they put out. The fact they haven't put on their TV, I don't know. We didn't see any Nightmare Collective at all this week. So, I don't think we did.
I mean, other than Brandy, there wasn't any. Awesome Kong wasn't there. Mel wasn't there.
Are you sure it was Awesome Kong?
Dr. Luther wasn't there.
Should have been Gangrel. I'll still stick to that argument. It should have been Gangrel.
Gangrel would have been such a great choice. That would have gotten me interested in the Nightmare Collective was Gangrel.
Once again, we've never been on the same page. We'll see where the MJF and Cody stuff goes. Like I said, it's the most thing I'm invested in the entire company. It's dare I say, the only thing I'm really hyped for at Revolution, because the Moxley and Jericho stuff, it's been good, but it's something about it I'm not as hyped as I feel like it should be, Colin. I don't know why.
I feel like in the back of everyone's mind, because Moxley and Jericho were two very prominent WWE people, and we've seen them have, a feud that culminated in a pretty big match. Whether that match was good or not is debatable. Never for rest in peace, Mitch. But I mean, I think that's part of the reason people have we've seen it before, so it's not one of those things where necessarily I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder what it's going to be like when these two wrestle, because I mean we've seen it happen. But I mean, I'm excited for it. I don't think Jericho's losing. And this is an early prediction, I guess, is the fact that throughout all of it. It makes sense for Moxley to win, but part of me just doesn't think he will.
The thing is, I feel like Jericho's this company's flair right now, as far as the guy with that dominant that champion. But thing of being flair is you got to lose it 15 times too. So I don't know what's going to happen. I have no clue what they're fucking going to do, honestly. It's hard to say when a guy's gimmick name is actually Le Champion and he has merchandise and Titantron shit that says champion on it. Do you take a belt off any? Say what you want, love him, hate him, fucking shit on Fozzie's music or make it your holy grail. He's got his fans. He's got people that love him and that all. He filled up a boat. Yeah,
I mean, there's not very many wrestlers I can think of right now who, if they said, hey, I'm having a cruise dedicated to myself and, stuff like that, I can't think of very many wrestlers who that would sell out very well.
I feel
genuinely, I don't, and I'll say it, I don't think if Ric Flair did it, I don't think it would be as successful as the Jericho cruise.
I feel like if it was just the Fozzy cruise, it wouldn't be nearly as successful. It's not just Jericho, but I mean, Jesus Christ, give the devil his due. I mean, he did this without AEW before, and he still had, a really nice turnout when it was just Ring of Honor or whatever. And I
was saying, Ring of Honor was on the downfall back then when they did this too. So I mean, for it to be as successful as it was the first time, so much so that they could do a second one, says a lot.
Either way, this has been I've loved the sadistic Jericho with the Thing. We talked about this our first attempt, Colin, where he stabbed him in the eye. I like that a lot. I felt it was an edge, a much needed edge to Jericho because he's gotten silly, and I don't feel like he needs to be doing a lot of silly right now. It's okay every now and then. But this week with the car keys and Santana's eye, it was good. It was good to see just that eye for an eye thing they love to keep fucking saying on commentary when it happened 27 times. Jesus Christ, Tony Schiavone. Yeah, it was fine. I thought the shot they put on Moxley when he was leaving through the crowd after he did that, it was great. He was given some good, intense looks there, and it worked. The franticness on the part of Jericho, people are like, well, he could have shown a little more concern. I think the thing that I'm kind of seeing that as Jericho is such a selfish prick heel, he's just looking at these guys as hired guns. He doesn't really care about them. I'm sure you're on the same page. You've liked this too, and it's just people shitting on this. I don't really get it. Like, I try to be fair, like we always say. It's been fine, but just missing that one fucking piece, like we said, to really make me go MJF and Cody on this, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely between, because those are the two biggest stories in the company right now is, Jericho and Moxley and then MJF and Cody. And I mean, obviously right now I'm more sold on Cody and MJF just because, I mean, to me, Jericho and Moxley is solely a feud based on the fact that it's just for a championship. It's not that these two are bitter rivals that absolutely hate each other. They're just doing it because one guy wants what the other guy already has. And that's basically what that feud is. With Cody and MJF, this is a blood feud. Like this is one where I like, this gives me the levels of like Triple H and Randy Orton back in 2009 when Triple H was going to Randy's house and breaking windows and going after his wife and kids and beating the shit out of him in his front yard. That's what this feud reminds me of, and that was a feud that like. When I first started watching wrestling was, that Triple H and Orton feud, not to make anyone feel old or anything like that. But that's what this kind of gives me. And so that's why I'm super excited for it.
Off topic real quick. How good is Randy Orton right now?
He's just fucking phenomenal.
And how excited are you? Remember, I sent you that picture of Edge too, and you're like, I was like, fuck, it's an old pic. But Jesus Christ, how excited were you for the Rated R Superstar?
I have a video. You can't see anyone's reaction, but my friend was just recording who the next entrant was for his like Instagram story or something like that because I was watching it with a couple of my coworkers and everything like that. And he happened to be recording the first one he did was when Edge came out. And we just hear the, You Think You Know Me, and we all just started screaming at the top of our lungs, just like, holy shit, he's back! And it was easily one of my favorite moments I've ever been a part of as a wrestling fan. I mean, I always, I've said it once, I'll say it again, I'm a whore for the Royal Rumble. I love a big return, I love all that. And I mean, not to overshadow the great MVP who came back in the Rumble for a cup of coffee and then a match on Raw. But I mean, we all saw and cried when Edge retired, and I mean, it's been said for years that I mean, that if the dude like he took another bump, he would die basically. And now, I mean, it also goes to show just how great technology can be and how advanced the medical things are getting due to the fact that like he can take full bumps now and there's no worry that he'll paralyze himself anymore, which I think is great because I mean they wouldn't have let him. He wouldn't be back if they thought there was a risk of injury again to that degree. And so, I mean, I'm super pumped for Edge being back.
It was definitely a moment when he came out or whatever, like it makes you sit up. That's what I did. I went, what? I didn't jump around like you and your little Mark friends, but I sat up pretty quick. I'm just kidding. No,
it's because you're old and your knees don't work as well as ours.
Fuck. God damn it. It's too late at night to even really have a comeback right now. For me. No, he looks tremendous, and he's sorely missed, and it's good to see. And how crazy is it that him and Daniel Bryan are back? Unreal.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
Let's stop highlighting all the top guys. Let's get down the card a little bit. I know you want to talk about it. Joey Janela, Kip Sabian continued the feud this week. Kip Sabian getting the Duke with chicken shit heel tactics. Was Penelope Ford really hurt? Or because I don't think she's that good of a seller on her ankle when she fell off the apron.
I don't think she was really hurt. I mean, it's one of those standard bumps where they hit the valet, she falls, or hurts her ankle, and that's how it works. Yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of this this feud. I like when, real life drama can, fold into wrestling. And part of me is obviously, under the impression that, and it's no secret that Joey Janela and Penelope Ford used to be a couple, and now her and Kip Sabian are also like an actual real life couple. But I'd have to imagine, like, they're all buddies backstage. There's no hard feelings. They're just doing this because, people know about that stuff, so it makes sense that they'd be feuding and everything like that. I don't think Joey Janela wants to go out there and actually just beat the shit out of Kip Sabian or anything like that. But there's always room for one or two, petty drama angles in wrestling, and I'm here for this one.
If Joseph Janela could try to take the time to get himself in better shape, and I'm no Adonis, but I'm not on a nationally televised wrestling program either. If he could just take the time to get himself in a little bit more shape, calm your nerves down a little bit, because it's very evident to me, a couple people on this roster, when I watch them work on Dynamite, I'm like, man, they're fucking nervous, and they're getting blown up about 5, not even 10 minutes in. And they're struggling with moves I feel like on any other indie show they're used to working is like nothing. If he can do these kinds of things, he reminds me of a 96 Jericho in a way. In a way. He reminds me of a Lenny Lane from WCW. He's got to... I need to see more of why the fuck he's a bad boy and not why he's a goof. Is this guy high on fucking Molly all the time? This goofy shit. He needs to show more of that. Doing my best to be a professional, Colin. You know I am right now. You know I'm shaking saying this shit. If he could do that more, I could tolerate watching him work a fucking match so much more. But that little springboard bullshit blunder he did where he tried to save, I don't even know what the fuck that was supposed to be. You know what I'm talking about? That little kick, rebound bullshit. I don't know. That was complete miscommunication. You would think two guys that are this intertwined in a feud and all that would be a little tighter, screwed up, and be in there, a little crisper. But I put that on Janela in this because Kip Sabian, more and more I see him, we talk about him all the time. He's one of our low-key favorite guys and very criminally underrated. I could see him in NXT UK easily. I don't think he'd be prominently featured, but I could see him being on there, booked at least. But
see, but the thing is, he already is on NXT UK as Kenny Williams.
All right, so it's
tell me those two aren't the same person.
Yeah, it's that he doesn't have those sweet Back to the Future 3D glasses.
That's fair.
Thank God they don't use Kenny Williams enough. That's another podcast. I just don't care. And just when I see this Bush League bullshit from Janela and Nadi, I'm just being me, just being fucking fair again. And when I see it, it's irritating when I think of so many more talented guys that could be in that spot on that nationally televised. With the show has a buzz about it. You can't deny that. Good or bad, the show every week is still remain to have this hot buzz about it. I don't know. It's so fucking indie. So indie.
I know you're not going to talk about it, but I didn't swear it off, so I will. Once again, AEW winning the ratings. It's been weeks in a row since they've lost, and haven't basically been on top of almost every demographic. So it's obviously there's a popularity behind it. And, people were saying from the beginning, oh, they won't make it past a year, and now they're signed through 2023, and people are still talking about like, oh, they're not going to survive and everything. I'm just like, just shut up and enjoy wrestling, And
TNT can terminate that contract whenever the fuck they want, by the way. People don't realize that. They're not married. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
But, unless the ratings take a complete shit turn for the worst, I don't see why they would.
I'm with... If it stays above fucking 3 or 4 at least, they're good. Got me talking about goddamn ratings. I just feel bad for Paul Heyman and ECW this week. Drew zeros. My God.
Yeah, and I heard...
Did the Sandman take his shirt off or something this week? What's the deal?
We're saying WCW doing the same ratings.
I know. Jesus Christ, stop putting Hoovy in the main events. Anyway, the guy remains a guilty fucking pleasure. I know a lot of my good buddies hate him, and the Cult of Cornette hates him. I'm still digging some goddamn Orange Cassidy, man. The shit with the Dark Order this week when he teased the joining and he did the pockets thing was... It's good, but my thing is it overshadowing Beretta and Taylor too much? Because I feel like during the entrance, when it's just Chucky T and Beretta that come out, they wait a little bit, they tease the crowd, but they get booed now until Orange Cassidy comes out. Is that good?
Oh, sorry, I'm still laughing. You popped me pretty good with the Hoovy thing. That was fucking hilarious.
Worst world champion in history, evidently, drawing jack fucking shit.
I know it's terrible. I kind of think it's one of those things with the whole Orange Cassidy and best friends thing. I think it's kind of one of those one of our you and I's favorite wrestling shows right now, NWA Power, phenomenal, great show every single week. Hasn't been a bad one yet. Pay-per-views have been awesome. Every single character on that show is perfect, and
Bring
I
back
think it's
Dawkins.
kind of
Damn it.
what.
Bring back Dawkins, goddammit. I don't want Pantera.
I haven't actually seen the last episode yet. I'm probably going to do that when I get done with this, so I'll have to see what that's like. But I think it's kind of like what they're doing with Shooter Stevens, the NWA national champion, and question mark. You know, Stevens comes out, and I mean, obviously these fans don't hate him. Like, you know, he's one of the more popular wrestlers, I feel like, to come back and work in the NWA, you know, from however he got in WWE and all the time he took off, and now he's back doing it. But they boo him like there's no tomorrow when he comes out, and then the question mark comes out and just throws up his fist, and everyone loses their fucking mind. And I think it's kind of like that. You know, I don't think anyone doesn't like the best friends. I don't think they're booing them because they don't want them there. I think it's just kind of, you know, people understand the gimmick. People understand, like, the, you know, this ongoing joke. Because, I mean, with Stevens and question mark, it's you know, it's just an ongoing joke week to week. Like, okay, we're going to boo Stevens, and then we're going to cheer when, you know, question mark is out here. Same thing, you know, okay, we'll boo when they're out there, and then once Orange Cassidy, you know, solemnly just taking his sweet time walking out there, fucking hands in pockets, sunglasses on, that's when we'll lose our minds and cheer for him.
How many foam thumbs have you ordered by now, Colin?
Oh God, at least 70 of them. I have a problem.
That's it? You're slacking, man. No.
I mean, I was only going to keep it at 69 for the joke, but it's like, I got to get more.
I'm still enjoying it because it's not like he's out there steamrolling guys by any means. People are going to make the argument, well, the question mark and Aaron Stevens are at least legitimate. They look believable, and they do worked punches, and they work. I get it, but Orange Cassidy, he's getting no offense in. These guys are just shrugging off and destroying him until he gets saved, pretty much. He'll do a dive, but it's a dive, you know?
I mean, I don't know. I did see a clip from the six-man tag he was in last week, where he's on the top rope and he does the motion like he's going to do this big, like, 450, and then he just fucking falls on him. And I think that's hilarious, and like I think that's what makes Orange Cassidy so great. He's like, you know, something, and like what they did with the Dark Order this week. He's like he's gonna grab the mask they're presenting with him, and then he just raises his hand, puts him in his pockets, and everything like that. And then I started thinking, man, what if he did join the Dark Order for a couple of weeks? He's just walking out there in the same outfit, doing the same thing, but he just has a mask on. We're supposed to pretend like it's not Orange Cassidy.
He pulled the Daniel Bryan thing when he was in the Wyatts.
Right.
Place goes apeshit. No, just randomly you see a dark, like they never explain it either. You just see a Dark Order like underling and just put his hands in his pockets, and all of a sudden he like attacks him with a crowbar, and you see this badass side of Orange Cassidy behind enemy lines.
I'm waiting for it, honestly. I'm excited to see.
They're gonna book him.
Cassidy can work really well.
They're gonna book him like this piece of shit where he can't really do anything, but he's gonna get those couple of moments every year. I see it where he's gonna get this marvelous miracle victory or this big elimination or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I know he can wrestle. I mean, I've seen his indie work. He's worked full matches and everything like that. And I'm just waiting for the time when, you know, they introduce this secondary title, or they give him something to do. And I mean, like I said, it's not a bad thing what he's doing now. I like everything he's been doing, but I mean, eventually, sooner or later, they're going to probably give him an actual feud or something like that. And I think it's going to be great. And I think it's going to be the same thing where he actually starts throwing leg kicks. He actually does a super kick, and the whole crowd's going to lose their fucking shit.
Yeah. And it's not like you talk about the 450 where he just fell on him earlier, and we know the shin kicks in slow motion. It's not like these guys – see, that's the fine line that could make me hate this. These guys aren't selling it when he does that. You know what I mean? Like, they'll kick out before one, or fucking they'll just laugh at him when he kicks their shins. Like, who the fuck is this guy? It's not like, you know, that's what's giving it a pass for me. It's comedy done right in wrestling. And your bright suit, tennis racket – shit sometimes. You did comedy and wrestling too. As much as I love JC, man, I know you hate him. He's guilty of sin too. Comedy works in wrestling sometimes, just not all the time.
So you're telling me if Joey Ryan was doing the dick flip, but the person just no-sold it and kicked him in the dick, you would like it?
Tell you what, if Joey Ryan went out there and he tried to do that bullshit where he flipped a guy and he did that incredible Hulk spot with his penis, and the guy just was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" and like hit a move on. Yes, it's that easy for me to accept. It's not that the penis shit's offensive for me. Looking at it now, that it's like shedding a light on me. It was never that. I love the Attitude Era, for fuck's sake. And I know everyone comes all over the face of the Attitude Era. I like it. Guilty as sin. Some of that shit's so bad it's good, but it's these guys are selling it is what kills it for me. I fucking hate that, because then I'm expected to a match later where you see a guy take a burning hammer and kick out at fucking one. Oh, that's believable. You know what I mean? There's lost translation when you do that.
I mean, or you could be Eddie Dennis and take a burning hammer and fucking explode your AC joint.
And that's the only reason burning hammer move came to my mind, because I watched that today. So thank you, Colin. Freshen as a daisy.
I heard burning hammer and I'm like, I feel like this is a good segue.
Did you see that clip?
Oh, I saw the clip.
Brutal.
I mean, I didn't realize how fucking far in advance NXT UK tapes their shows. I mean, shit, Eddie Dennis has been out for like a month already, I think.
It's the worst part about it.
They're just showing the fact that he got injured.
I think it's a big fact, too, to why even the diehards don't watch it, because it's taped so far in advance. People shrug off tape shows that old, for one, and I'm at a point now, doing NXT UK podcasts, yeah, all that shit, it's not biased. Just whenever these guys have a kick-ass show or just match, whatever, in NXT UK, it makes me angry, because I know people still don't know who the fuck these guys are, and that was very evident at Worlds Collide. But as much as I love the MJF and Cody shit, that match with Trent Seven and Eddie Dennis deserves just as much praise this week, and it's not going to get it, and that pisses me the fuck off, you know, because Trent Seven is a tremendous human being. He really is. In real life, Trent Seven does a lot for children's hospitals. He really is, dude. Class guy. And if he comes out to Worlds Collide and it's like, yay, Mustache Mountain, when it really is British wrestling fucking royalty if you go to the UK, night and day.
I mean, regardless if the fans thought it was a good show or not, I know we're supposed to be the alternative and talk about AEW, but fuck it, it's not even an actual episode of Dynamite,
exactly.
Or the alternative, so we're going to talk about whatever we want. I thought Worlds Collide was one of the best fucking shows they've done all year.
I loved it. I praised it on the review with Matt. My thing was, it broke my heart when guys like Dragunov came out and got crickets. And then when people did react to him, it was like, ooh, evil Russian. It's like, really? Do you even know how he's booked? It's on the same network as NXT and pay-per-views. It's the same network. Why does it have that 205 Live stink? The question and the journey continues. We find out. Cheap plug every week on Union Smack. Check out a new episode this week. But we're here doing this, the alternative. Colin, I plug my shows within my shows at this point.
I mean, it's great. And we will get back to the AEW side of things. But I will say, oh, man, it's about fucking time Jordan Devlin did something like this. I'm so excited for his run as Cruiserweight Champion. I think that was a fantastic call. It's
like when a proud papa gives his son the keys to his first car, like, you know, takes a picture of him with his date when he's about to go to prom. Jordan Devlin, you have no idea. Praised up and down for 3 years, has been one of my favorite guys. I'm so proud right now, Colin, NXT UK. Thank you. That meant a lot.
That match was the only one I got wrong. I predicted the show perfectly outside of that match because I'm just like, they're not going to put it on anyone in the NXT UK. WWE doesn't like them that much, and then I'll be damned, they did it.
I feel like it's their excuse to get a secondary belt on NXT UK because it really needs it as far as singles. And I feel like no one had as much momentum going into that four-way Cruiserweight match because Tyler Bate had one of those matches. Like I said, he's got that notch under his belt now. He had a classic fucking match with Tyler Bate that people are going to talk about for a while. Hands down. For sure, absolutely. So jealous Matt was there, front row. Fuck you, Matt. Love you. I saw Matt a bunch of different times on the live feed and everything like that. And I think between Jordan Devlin and Angel Garza again, I think Jordan Devlin and Leo Rush is going to happen. But I think Jordan Devlin and Tyler Bate for the Cruiserweight title, that's going to be awesome. That's why you got to be a guest on Union Smack before the year's up. We got a whole year to plan this. I mean, I've got a whole year to watch NXT UK at that point then because I don't. You talk about it like it's an X or something. I don't know.
I talk about it like I never know when the show is on, and I'm usually working when it is.
Fair. That is fair, because it's the only show that comes on at like 2 p.m. or whatever the fuck. I don't know. It's hard to keep
I was gonna say I now understand what it feels like to have to watch Raw or SmackDown in the UK every week.
Yeah, there's no simpy from our friends over there across the ocean at all right now. At all.
No, not at all.
Especially our Canadian friends up north with their shitty version of the WWE Network. Shout out to my friend Scott. Just talking about that today. The only real thing about AEW going on before we wrap this show up, Colin, is the Hangman Page stuff. More and more, we keep saying it, bigger and bigger reaction. It's going to be the breakout star. Yes, it's a played out drunk gimmick. It can be done classy with Steve Austin. It can be done shitty with Scott Hall. Whatever it is, it's working for Adam Page, so run with it. Doesn't fucking matter. Once again, it's pro wrestling. It fucking makes money. Run with the shit.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's definitely something I wanted to talk about. I mean, they won the titles on the cruise, and I mean, it was a great time with that. And now, especially this last week, I'm not sure if they did anything last week. I didn't see the episode, but this past episode this week, I think was fantastic. They had the 8-man tag teaming up with the Young Bucks versus the Butcher and the Blade and the Lucha Brothers. And I love this match. I thought it was, it wasn't a great, like, holy shit, you have to see this match type thing. But like, I like the storytelling behind it. I'm also a huge fan of the fact that, the Butcher and the Blade have got to win in something. I mean, they've been booked pretty shitty as far as I'm concerned. And, I went into this match expecting nothing less. I thought they were Braxton Sutter was going to eat the pin like normal, and it was going to be called a day. And to my chagrin, and it is one of those, it confused me at first, because, I'm thinking, like, obviously they're telling the story that Adam Page, is better than, the Elite. He doesn't have to have him. He doesn't need him. And then, he has a perfect chance to tag in the Young Bucks and get the win. And he's just like, no, I'm good. And then, eats the pile driver by the Lucha Brothers and gets pinned, and he loses it for the team. And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, that's not what I expected, and that's what I like in wrestling. I like being surprised. I like not always not everything being super predictable. And then they had the segment later in the show where he was doing he's having his plastic cup of beer. And the Young Bucks are yelling at him, and they're basically doing the alcoholic storyline, kind of like Stone Cold's whole fucking gimmick his whole career. Not to diss stunning Steve Austin, but no one gives a shit about that version of Stave Austin.
I do, God damn it.
It's still real to me. So and just another thing where it's like you can mix serious and you can mix comedy. And I think what Adam Page is doing is the perfect mix of that, because, you have the Young Bucks yelling at him, and they're just like, and one of the Young Bucks was like, I think I know why you're like this, and they take his beer, and they're just, because that's the angle they're doing and everything. And then, off screen, someone hands it to him, obviously, but then he just pulls back into screen this whole fucking pitcher of beer and drinks it. I'm like, I love this. I absolutely love everything that they're doing with Adam Page.
I'm sure you popped hard when he did the hold my beer buckshot lariat spot in the street clothes.
Oh, it was fantastic.
I liked it. I'm not even going to lie. I like that little spot. It made sense with them. If they're going to tell this story, if they have to already put turmoil in the group or whatever, if they have to do it, it made sense for them to get the belts, because I feel like SCU is starting to run a little stale, personally. Yeah, and here we are.
They've been doing the whole. They've been doing the tension in the group thing for basically since the show started.
Yeah.
Since Dynamite's been going on. So and I think they've done great with this story. Arguably this is probably my second favorite storyline over the Jericho Moxley feud. I'm still super sold on Cody versus MJ, but this is easily one of my favorite things to be following. And I was thinking today while I'm watching this, I'm just like, shit, I think I need to start watching Being the Elite, because I want to see more of what's happening. I want to see, how they react to this. What's going to happen? What is Kenny going to say to his friends? What is he going to say to the Bucks about, what his tag team partner's doing and everything like that.
Well, you can watch Being the Elite. You can tell me what happened.
I'll just be being the elite mark on the show and everything.
My typical qualms with any tag fucking match with the Young Bucks and all these guys, And this is kind of on the camera crew again. It just stopped showing these guys literally set up to catch a guy when he dives. They literally, this one shot.
They're getting better at it, though. I've noticed more and more they're at least fighting, or they're at least not waiting 14 seconds for him. Because I always hate the spot where it's like they're already stood up and looking at him, like they're having a staring contest, and that's when whoever's in the ring turns around, hits the ropes, and leaps over. It's like, move. Literally sidestep them and let them break their skull. Like, I do something other than just stand there.
Yeah, wouldn't you realistically fucking get out of the way? Or would you try to catch the guy trying to... I don't know. But I can't love WCW Cruiserweights and hate the die. I don't hate the spot, just if it's shot right. It's one thing to be there live and see it done, but just, I don't know. That and, man... First of all, is Pentagon Jr. a face or a heel? He was tagging hands with the fans on his entrance. One.
But they're also teaming with Butcher and the Blade.
How much?
I think they're heels, but I just think Pentagon's a nice guy in real life, and it's just like, yeah, I'll slap a hand or two. Right.
I don't know. They definitely have their fans too in the crowd when they come out. I feel like there's tons of money there with them as a baby face, obviously.
I think Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix are easily going to be world champions in AEW at some point in the future. I mean, I feel like you can't watch them on Lucha Underground and not see main event potential from both of them.
Right. I just feel like we're prolonging shit when I watch this. I kind of want to see the heel turn already. I just want to kind of get it over with. And it's just, I don't know. I'm tired of seeing these guys in these 6-man tags every fucking week. And it's honestly, to me, no offense to the guys in there. I'm not a wrestler, but it's the same fucking match over and over with these Young Buck spots and shit like that. And yes, I've said it before, less is more, and these aren't 60 minutes matches of high spots, but still let's mix it up a little bit, for fuck's sake. And you get that sometimes when you throw in new guys, but at the same time, it's just the same fucking layout. Just, I know it's not just me. I know you got to see some of that, Colin. That's on Omega too, man. It's very paint by numbers with Omega lately for me. And I know he's doing a lot behind the scenes and yada yada, but you got to see some of this. And if you don't, that's fine. But maybe I'm just, and it's not like blind rage hate. You know what I mean? I don't hate these fucking guys, and they're not completely unbearable. It's like the teenager in me still would think I want to try to like them, because I feel like if I was a teen, I wouldn't really give a fuck, and I think Omega would be cool as shit, and the Bucks would be awesome. I've seen so many eras of wrestling, and I've grown as a person. I don't know, man. What do you think? I'll shut up.
I mean, yeah, I'm a huge Omega fan. I mean, I started watching him and the Bucks, and I mean, half of the Elite basically when they were in New Japan. And I definitely think it's a very big night and day situation with, you know, the kind of matches that they do here as opposed to what they did in New Japan and how their characters work. And I mean, yeah, no, I definitely miss, you know, the more aggressive Kenny Omega. I miss the cleaner. I miss, you know, who he was. But at the same time, it's like you can only do a character for so long before, you know, just time happens, things change.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not so much the character. I'm fine with pure white meat babyface weeb Kenny Omega. Play your video games and be a nice guy. It's not that. It's just this translation talk about with this American style where the hard cam's at and all these shots, and say what you want. I know they're not WWE, but you can't tell me a lot of those guys backstage aren't taking their experience from shooting TV from WWE and taking it here. And they're you know, it is what it is. It's TV wrestling. It's one and the same how it's shot and done. You know what I mean? And he's having a hard time being that guy he was when he had so much free reign in New Japan, because they don't give a shit in New Japan, their camera. Just go out there and have a good fucking match and we'll film it. That's their logic in Japan, you know. It's like I said, it's hard for me to say because I'm not in there.
New Japan has like 14.
Yeah, good.
New Japan has like 14 cameras at ringside. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like...
and announce teams.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, they're going to catch whatever they do, and I mean, that's not always. And I mean, because I feel like if they shot a wrestling show in the same way they did New Japan, but they showed it in America on TNT, USA, whatever, I don't know how people would react to it. I feel like that would be a bit of a, you know, definitely a bit of a change for some. So, I mean, they're doing it the way that Americans are used to, and I mean, I'm sure plenty of Americans don't watch New Japan or, there's obviously more of the viewers who haven't seen it than have. So, I mean, yeah, they're obviously going to shoot it the way the American culture works. They're not just going to try their own thing and hope it works out.
Last thing before we wrap it up, I wanted my 2 cents on this match and the post-match stuff with Omega and Pac. It was good. It was good. It wasn't tremendous. I still love Pac. It was. See, if I was Omega, realistically, I probably would have just dashed out the ring out of instinct. You know what I mean? So just standing in there waiting to give the guy his answer. And I get it. By the time he ran back there, he could have attacked her and all this shit. Who knows? Once again, it's wrestling. That was fine. But just my last thing is, we talked about earlier, Colin, the eyes of a true casual peeking in for the first time at AEW. Or someone, it's like their third or fourth week watching him. I'm sorry. I am sorry, and I know it's a broken record by now, but it's got to be addressed again. The Young Bucks have been booked, and I would look at them like fucking losers. Because it's not that they lose all the time, but it's how much the announcers talk about them on the commentary now. They're one of the best teams in the world. My God, the chemistry, they're brothers. Matt and Nick Jackson, one of the finest teams we've ever seen, and that's any era. All this shit, and they never win, and they always pout on their way back to the ring and wave at the fans every fucking week and week out. I would think these guys are schlubs if I had no clue and I was just, learning the show and trying to get into it weekly. There's no way I would be into these guys. Why are these guys so great? They're fucking little kids out there who can't do shit. And they're crybaby. Well, they're not really crybabies, but they're, oh, my friends are fighting. And all this shit. I don't like how they're being handled. If you're going to call these guys the best fucking team in the world all the time, then show us why. Let them be dominant. Let them be a Jeff Jarrett. Let them be a Hollywood Hogan. It's okay to have a little vanity. You know why? Because those guys, whether you like them or not, they sell tickets to their market. People want to come see them kick ass and win belts and have good matches and good storylines, not just sideline cheerleaders for Cody and all this bullshit. End rant. Colin, your 2 cents before we get out of here.
I mean, I understand, like, where you're coming from as far as, what would this look like to the eyes of a casual viewer and everything like that. And to that I say, obviously they have to, some of the stuff has to be able to translate to casual viewers to the point where, if someone was scrolling on by and saw this, they could understand it. But at the same time, they can't make everything so easily readable to the casual viewer. I mean, they can't act like, people who've been watching the wrestling for years. They can't act like people who already know I've watched the Young Bucks for a while. I know they're really good at wrestling. I know they have great matches. And so to me, it's like, sure, they might be beating a broken record with me, but if, to a casual fan, they're going to see that, they're going to hear like, oh, these are the greatest tag team. And if they lose, they might be inclined to think, oh, these guys are losers, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, they can't act like people who have watched them for years are stupid. If they go out there talking about like, oh, well, they're not that good, or oh, well, they've been losing a lot. It's like, they're obviously trash or something like that. So we're going to look at them like, what? What do you mean? Like, no, that's not the case. So, I mean, you kind of got to pick and choose what you're going to aim towards a casual viewer who might not watch it as often or has just got into it, and aim towards people who, have been watching it for a while and know what's going on.
My favorite tag team of all time to this day is the Rockers. I want to look at the Young Bucks like that because there's a lot of parallels there, right? Give me a reason to look at them in that light. Give me just them too. I don't know. I don't want to end a great episode on a Young Bucks blunder here, stumble fuck, whatever the hell I'm doing. I'll just say this. If any of the guys in the Elite need to be booked a little nepotismly strong or whatever the fuck the word is, it needs to be these guys out of all of them. Don't make Omega dominant too at the same time, but I just feel like especially this tag division now needs something in there, a little bit of a dynasty going, something, because I'm sick of seeing the same tag matches now too at this point. I'm not sick of though, man, this show, doing this with you. Thank you for joining me, man. Always great to get my mind off real life and do this and talk some good old fashioned wrestling. One more time, we've come off the boat. We've hit each other in the back with leather belts. Where can everyone catch you?
Oh, you can always find me on Twitter at UberTieGuy, making the big moves over there. Something I think might be fun for the viewers and everything like that, and I just kind of want to brag about it, is I got myself, nothing major, but I did get myself a little clothing deal with Clothesline Wrestling. You can find them on Twitter. I believe their name is Get Clotheslined or something like that. They're a great shirt company, and so I think, I have some of their stuff, great quality, just thought I'd plug that for something. At least it gives me something else to talk about, except, hey, follow me on Twitter, and then just radio silence. But yeah,
moves.
Check that out, and then follow me on Twitter at @UberTiGuy.
Big moves, Colin. Hell yeah.
I'm moving on up in the world, and I mean, shit. Joey Janela's sending me stuff. I got to brag about that. People can tell me that doing TikToks are stupid, but it got me a clothing deal, and Joey Janela's sending me free stuff because I made a TikTok about him. That I don't know what I need to say more about.
How long did it take you to smoke through that ounce of weed, Colin?
About as long as it took me to make the shitty TikTok.
There you go. Thank you again, my man. As always, you can catch me on Twitter at @TheHibiki. This website, ProWrestlingJournal.com. Thank you again, guys, for having us here. Check them all out. Fantastic writers. Happen in ring. They're your thing. Hibiki TMD on YouTube. All the goodness, retro gaming, pro wrestling, heavy metal podcasts, Terry Bollea press conferences. Man, we got you covered. This has been The Alternative. Until then, later.